Fox News alert now. Police in the UK conducting more raids overnight after the weekend of attacks in London, as ISIS takes credit for it for the attacks that killed at least 7 people. President Trump now vowing to do whatever it takes to keep us safe.
This bloodshed must end. This bloodshed will end. As president, I will do what is necessary to prevent this threat from spreading to our shores and work every single day to protect the safety and security of our country, our communities, and our people.
So how do we do that? How do we eradicate radical Islamic terror in major cities? And you know, the gravy train, pay dirt would be New York City. Here with us to talk about that is New York Assemblyman and Marine Corps veteran Kieran Lawler, former CIA operative Mike Baker, and former U.S. diplomat Morgan Ortagus. All right, let's start with you, Kieran. You know, New York is, we thought we had a terror attack a couple of weeks ago when just a crazy guy tried to run over people at Times Square because he was crazy, but he wasn't ISIS-inspired. But 3 attacks in 3 months in London from British citizens. Where do you start?
You know, one thing we have to do in this country, and it's amazing that we have to do it, but we have to win hearts and minds of our own people in this country to realize that this is a real threat, that this is a unique threat. Even in the last 48 hours since the London attacks, you hear people giving equivalencies. Well, there was an Oklahoma City bombing, and there isn't a consensus among enough Americans that radical Islamic terror is a unique threat. It's bigger in scope. It's more of a potential, more potential for a body count than other things. There's not agreement on that.
I think that people are realizing now. We see Paris, you see Brussels, and you see London, Manchester, and everything. We have our charity fundraisers for the victims the day after a terror attack now. They're running into each other. They talk about social filtering. That would be the problem Theresa May talks about, social media.
Yeah, look, I think Theresa May, she said the right thing when she came out after this London Bridge attack. But the problem that they've got in the UK, and a problem that we will probably be experiencing, we're a little bit behind the UK, I think, in this issue, is that it's taken generations, it's taken years for them to realize sort of the effect of this self-inflicted wound, this multiculturalism, where the celebrating, and you don't have to assimilate, you don't have to come into this country and be British first and respect our culture and our laws. So she said the right thing, but it's not going to change overnight because this problem has been developing for years and years. And the problem is they're going to have to bang this thing out in Parliament. They're going to have to figure out how to change those laws. Just like our FBI here works within the confines, the parameters that they're allowed within law, so do MI5 and 6 and the Met and the Counterterrorism Command. They've all got to act within what they're allowed to do. That's going to be a big public and parliamentary conversation.
Morgan, if the Daily Mail report is true today, this is a 27-year-old that was on a documentary about Islamic extremism, and he's been caught radicalizing kids. With the Manchester bombing, we knew that he was under watch and that he was traveling to Libya. So it's not like these guys are coming out of the woodwork. They're watching them.
No, it's not. And the Brits have very sophisticated law enforcement and intelligence. The relationship with us is quite close. I think in a lot of ways, we still have like a 9/11 mentality of what terrorists are. We think of Osama bin Laden in the cave. But what we have to realize now is in 2017, the average terrorist is a millennial. It's a media-savvy millennial who knows how to go online and knows how to go on social media and recruit people, just as you said in the report today in the Daily Mail. And when you also look at what's going on in the UK, the House of Commons released a report last year that shows that unemployment is higher for Muslim communities in Britain. The education level is lower than other religious communities in the UK. So the integration of them into the society is a problem writ large. But I think the lesson that we can learn here in the U.S. is that we need to look at what our cybersecurity laws are, and we need to have a whole-of-government approach. We're not treating social media and cyber terrorism as if it's a battle. If we were, saw a terrorist group in the middle of Libya that had a training camp, that were training people and recruiting people to fight, we would go after them. We're not doing that the same way on social media.
Right. Yeah, that's the old. In a way, you could argue this is Groundhog Day. I mean, how many years ago did we start talking about this problem? I mean, I remember sitting in the old studio, and by the way, you did a great job personally designing this new studio. Right. But I remember sitting in the old studio years ago, and we were having the same conversation. Right. So I would argue, I spent a long time combating or dealing with counter-terrorist operations overseas, and I don't want to sound cynical and pessimistic. But, you know, we're not going to see the end of this in our lifetimes. But we do have to realize
we got to get under control.
It's not
get
enough.
Under control.
It's like hashtag campaigns and shrines, and it's like saying we got to get tough and we got to stop being politically correct. That's all great, but operationally we need to change the laws if we're going to make a difference.
All right, Kieran, I owe you a comment. You're going to lead off the next time we have a panel.
All right.
Sadly, we're going to have another panel about this. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.